bunch of patents have emerged, which seem to be confirming certain elements of the Switch 2's functionality. And we've got this question here from some guy person. What do you guys make of the patents that clearly show the Switch 2 Joy-Con being used as a mouse? Is this the innovation that will finally bring Alex to play Switch games? You could always just dock the Switch 2 to your monitor, so it just feels like you're playing on a really weird PC. You don't even need to make it portable, as I know Alex despises gaming on the go. Do you think this feature would help the Switch 2 with better FPS support? How much would you like to own some noobs in Super Mario? He's got a gun now.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah. I don't think this pushes me any way towards using a Switch because I could always, I've got a Steam Deck, which you could also attach a mouse to. And in fact, I've done that before, but I realized, why am I doing this when I could just be playing at a much more powerful PC? So it doesn't change any of that. But I think it's just, in terms of innovation, it allows for very different style types of games. Like the stylus games. I think the DS was actually brilliant for the stylus. And, games that were designed around the stylus could also work potentially even better with a mouse. And it also plays very well, I think, into the general idea of just the way most people interact with mobile devices today, with touchscreens and whatnot. The idea of like directing something in a linear manner, like linear one-to-one movement with your hand, versus the way a controller does it, which is it's like multiple angles of I don't know how you would say it, like it's an obfuscation of what you really want to do, actually. I always feel like with a controller. So I feel like it's great for all those things. I can imagine just so many different types of games being enabled by the ability to use something more like a pointer than a thumbstick. So I'm excited for what potential that leads developers to use it for. But at the moment, until I see games, I won't say I'm super excited. Right. Okay. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Oliver, Super Mario, he's got a gun now. Does this excite you? What else about this?
Sounds very enticing. Although that's basically the premise of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It was basically
Mario
Super Mario, but he's got a gun now and he's in an XCOM turn-based title. No, I think I think basically with this, it's something that's basically priced in. People have known about the mouse or suspected that there might be mouse functionality for a while now. There were all kinds of rumors with the little pads and the IR sensor and all this stuff that seemed to indicate there might be mouse functionality. Then in the Switch 2 video, I mean, they basically hinted it in very explicit terms, I would say, with the little mouse-like Joy-Cons moving along in a very mouse-like manner that might suggest some mouse functionality. I'd suspect that it will probably be used for games like Mario Maker. That's what I would think. A lot of games like that, specialty modes in games like Mario Maker. I could also see it for titles like Metroid Prime, but as kind of a bit of a specialty input device, like because of the physical constraints of needing to be on a flat surface, needing to have that device in front of you, or I mean, theoretically, you could also have like a monitor type setup with the console docked, but realistically, it's probably going to be in handheld mode. I think the limitations of that really, to me, make it seem much more like an alternative input device that allows for additional fine-grained control, as opposed to something that would be seen as an integral part of any specific title, even a fairly niche one. I don't think that Nintendo would go that way. I think it would be an alternative that is very precise, that is for like user-generated content type stuff. I would not expect that to be a major pushing point, major selling point of the console's input functionality. That's my suspicion.
I think what interests me about this is the concept of how much money this is going to cost over the generation, when the application of it for a handheld device actually seems quite minimal. So this is essentially hardware that they've priced into the build costs, and they must assume that it's going to be used, but I can't for the life of me think of how many games are actually going to use it. And yet, the cost of those components is going to be in each and every one of those millions upon millions of devices. So maybe there's some sort of master plan here, which I'm not fully aware of, but it's certainly interesting nonetheless. And I'm going to be interested to see how much more detail emerges about Switch 2 as we're in this sort of void of information period now until the Direct happens in April. So, it's a long, long time to go before we actually see anything new.